Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Free Daily Coaching, our morning hangout where we talk about home-based business and how we can grow our home-based business, get more leads, get more exposures, make more sales, and ultimately get into profit. So this morning we have a pretty big announcement. It's going to be a short free daily coaching call this morning because we're going to have a super power-packed day. So for those of you that are familiar with some of the projects that we have going on, then you'll know that we've been waiting for a few outside providers of resources and supplies, if you will, online supplies, to finish some of the projects that we've been currently working on. And for those of you that are not familiar, we are getting the entire farm wired up and cameraed up so that we can have Goat Village live on camera, as well as acring off or fencing off some of the acreage in the and on one side of our house, so that we can increase the amount of animals and add some additional product lines, if you will, into the mix. And so while this has been going on, we've been kind of showing you guys with a process and going back and forth with a company. And one of the obstacles or challenges that we faced in working with a company that really only communicates via email, unless it's a really important deal to get on Skype. When you're dealing with someone overseas, there's a delay in time, and in this case, it's 8 hours. So the middle of the night is when they start working, right? So by this time right now, it's like almost the end of their day, but when people here are getting up. So getting those communications and taken care of in the middle of the night and getting this stuff locked up has been a challenge. However, the big day is finally here, and today's the day. And so I'm really excited to announce to everyone that in addition to having the hard line and the physical capabilities to be able to now broadcast, I got the email back finally this morning from the service provider, and the telephone feed will be added in, and I can now add in that third camera. So now we will have the 2 outdoor cameras and then the movable adjustable barn cam. So getting all of those things done also added an additional service. And what that allows us to do is be able to broadcast privately directly from our phone to a channel. So we can literally have our own private webinars and be broadcasting directly via mobile onto a channel. And we'll do some of that today and test that out. And then as well, I can as well do a private broadcast directly from the computer here. So we'll be able to keep the free daily coaching call as it is here on the Google Hangouts platform. And then the Friends of FDC, our private coaching, that will be moved to this new private platform. So it's totally secure and it's on lockdown, so that while we're training and while we're doing those live sessions, we know that it's not being broadcast all over YouTube or online somewhere where people can access it. So it truly will be that exclusive access to that training that people are paying for. And so that they're not under the auspice that, hey, we could just have snuck into this. Hey, we could just rip this down off of YouTube. This is going to be privately hosted. So looking forward to getting all of that accomplished. And now that we have the private hosting platform, as long as we can get that hooked up today, and the mobile app, as long as we get those hooked up today, the goal today is to be able to use the mobile app to go out and show the ranch project, so we can really do an overview of that, because people have been asking. And then the second is to have that private platform, because we have I've set a goal for about 2 more weeks I have here. About 2.5, a little bit more, to be able to finish off this project, to have this new format for the free daily coaching call that we spoke about earlier, going through literally a day-by-day process where you start at the beginning and you just work your way through, so that you have every single step of the business set up so that you can start going out and marketing and in real actionable steps. So I'm going to get some of that film today and do hopefully that, as long as the private platform's working, as soon as that private platform's working. So today, tomorrow, like as soon as that I get that all lined up, that's going to happen. And I'm going to shoot. And my goal, my intention is to have that done today. And to get that going today. And the reason is because when I do that, I can then film, and it's on a private platform, so we can film as few or as many episodes at a time as we want and cut them up. And I don't have to worry about them all being one big video on YouTube. I don't have to worry about ripping it down and then editing it and reloading it. I don't have to do all that anymore. And so this is really going to help. So we'll definitely, after the MLSP call this morning, I will have, by that time, I'll have the mobile app up, and it's similar to Facebook Live, except for you're able to just tap in live onto my website. And I'll have a special page just for that, or we'll have it, in this case, we'll have it over on the Free Daily Coaching page, most likely, or the Friends of Free Daily Coaching. So we'll get that put over there. And we'll also have like a comment section or something. We'll do a social media comment section on the page so that we can have some interaction as well. So we will have all of this set up hopefully by this morning, at least the mobile portion. And then once we get that up, we'll go do a little tour out there, get some things set up out there. And then later we will be doing a little turbo action today and doing a few hours of recording for the Friends of FTC, as long as that we get that private channel set up. So that's what we got going on. That's what we're doing. And we're just bringing you in, into the mix to show you all the processes that we did in this. So we've shown you along the way how long this has taken. So some of you may have thought this is just nonsense. He's never going to finish. It's just, this is just going to drag on. And then some of you were, probably like, wow, he's so tenacious about this. And then some of you were like, well, this is just what's required, right? So there's probably a couple different versions of how you saw this playing out, and how I saw it was one of these goals. And this is what happens so many times, is when we create these goals, we think it's going to be so quick and easy, and really it's not so quick and easy. It might be easy, but sometimes not so quick. So thank you all for joining us. Like I mentioned, it's gonna be a short call this morning. I want to get this all set up. We got up and got some things going, and this email came through so that we can get this actually set up. So it started with a vision. Yeah, that's right. So someone asked, hey, Bert, oh, there's two questions. My head's feeling better today. Yesterday, I just took the day off. Not off. I did some stuff around here, some small errands and stuff, but I kind of took the day off. I did a couple of phone calls, and then I just did some personal stuff, like worked in the garage and stuff. And I even took the night off of the orientation just because I was still going kind of slow. The swelling's gone down now. So now it's just, I need to wash it again, and it's just dried. That's all. It's going to leave I'll have probably a little scar right there. Nothing that you will probably even see, since I got wrinkles on my forehead. So my head's feeling a little bit better today. So I feel better. And then the other question is, it started with the vision. And that's right. We had a vision of what we could do. And then we started with the vision, and we went from there. Then we had a list of required actions, and then that list grew. That list of required actions, it grew. And then once we got all of the actions written down, then we just took all of the action steps. And then in some of those steps, we're having to contact someone and then wait for their response, and then implement something, and then wait for someone, wait for a company's response. So it took a little bit longer than we had anticipated. However, in the long run, everything is now going to be accomplished. So pretty exciting, because today, finally the big days arrived. We can get all this, all these cameras will be up and online. And then what we can do is, boom, excuse me for 1 second. What we can do is, now that we have all the cameras set up, or they're all streaming, now we can get them dialed into some good positions where you can see all the animals. There's some activity. It's fun. The toys are up, right? Just got a bunch of the painting and stuff done out there in Goat Village. And then we can put it all on lockdown. So it's absolutely right, Whitman. It started with a vision, and then it just proceeded action after action after action. And that visions can turn into realities, and you can create these ideas that you have, these dreams that you have in your business. You can create them into physical realities if you're willing to take the actions required to get to the end result. That's the bottom line. If you're willing to take the actions required. Most people wouldn't be willing, and this is a reality that my wife was talking to me the other day, and she's like, the reality is that most people just wouldn't be willing to do what you've done, right? Most people wouldn't be willing to call every single day to the internet company and debate the same point over and over for 4 days in a row. Most people would, after the second or third day, probably would have just been like, oh, well, I give up. I guess that's all they have. I wasn't willing to do that because I had a vision to have cameras on the farm. And part of that vision of having cameras on the farm meant that I needed a certain level of service coming to my house. Now, I found out that it was physically coming to my house, that I had the capabilities. Once I knew that information, then there was going to be nothing then that was going to slow me down or deter me from getting that service to my home. I was willing to do whatever it took, even if I had to be on the phone for the next 2 weeks every single day. If that's what it took to get the job done, that's what I was going to do. And for this simple reason, that was the vision. Like, the vision is gone without the cameras. If I don't have the cameras out there, it's not the same thing. That's not what we wanted. That's not what I was doing. So if I just give up on that, then I lost, then I failed, then I didn't do what I originally set out to do, which was have live cameras on the ranch. That's a thing, right? So are you willing to take all the required actions that are necessary to get to the end result? And if you can say yes, and then you're actually willing to follow those through all the way to the end, then you can get the end result. That's a reality. However, on the flip side of that, we can see this isn't a judgment. This is not a judgment on people. This isn't a characterization. This is an observation that we can see across the board in multiple different areas of business, that people are unwilling to either follow the directions or have enough action of follow through actions to be able to get a result. That's a reality that we can observe, that we observe people trying multiple different things rather than focusing in on one thing until they get proficient and then moving on. That's a reality that we see. So knowing that and having that information, having that knowledge, that's really an asset. It's a massive asset in your business, because you know that there's an answer. There's a clue that's being left for you right there. Okay, these people that are not having success, that are perpetually failing and losing money, those are the people that are going from thing to thing to thing. They're jumping from idea to idea, from business proposition to business proposition, instead of staying on track, on focus, and really drilling into one skill set, one business, one product, service, one offer. Instead of doing that, they're all across the board. And because they have no focus, they have no success. So this is just another way of showing that this is all possible, that you could actually do all of this. So no, there's another question though. They will not all be movable with sound. The only one that has sound and is movable is the indoor camera. It's a lot more. I can put sound on the outdoor cameras, so they just aren't movable. So they may all have sound, but they will not, or at least some of the outdoor ones may have sound as well. However, they will not have, they won't all be movable cameras, at least not for the time being. The movable cameras are, the one that we have right now is an indoor camera. And so the outdoor movable cameras, some of them are significantly more in cost. So we'll see how this goes with these cameras, and then we'll go from there. So that's that. So that's the story. We got a bunch of stuff going on this morning. I'm going to go and get this mobile application lined up so that we can start doing a live feed from outside this morning. And then from there, we will, I will hopefully I'm going to, and this is, I got all the instructions. So as long as I can get it all hooked up and everything sent over, then we will, or set up, then we will be good to go on the private broadcast. Yeah, the cost is on the cameras is the main thing. The power for all this stuff is really minimal. You know, people think that your power bill is going to spike huge. The amount of electricity, for example, that the electric fence draws is like pennies a month. So it's literally like a penny, fractions of cents a day, probably, that the electric fence cost. And then the cameras are actually, the one camera that we have on the inside is literally just a 12-volt camera, just a little 12-volt DC camera. So it doesn't draw a lot of power. And the other cameras, the outdoor, the external cameras, are both power over Ethernet. So both of those cameras are actually just an Ethernet cord that's plugged into it, and it plugs into the router. And in this case, like a little, just like a little splitter that I have on my router that has a power over Ethernet port. And so the power of the router itself, so the router's plugged in, right? It's already getting power. So that's already part of it. You already have to have that. So the Ethernet cords are then just plugging into that, right, to give the internet connection. Well, they're drawing enough power as well out of that switch to power the camera. So we're talking about like minimal amounts of energy that we're actually using to do this. And theoretically, I was thinking about this the other day. So I have a solar powered light that's outside, a motion detector light for at nighttime, out behind the barn, like by the animal doors and the fence back there. And so theoretically, that's a 12-volt DC solar panel that powers the light. And then in the light housing has like 5 batteries, 5 AA rechargeable batteries. So it's recharging the batteries, and then when, you know, each day, and then at night when it's blasting the light, it's going off of battery power, right? So I was thinking the outdoor cameras really only need to be on during the day, because at nighttime the animals go into their structures, into their at home, right? So they'll be inside their homes. So I was thinking I could theoretically, I could run one of those, like the indoor cameras. I could put it in like a little plexi box or like a waterproof clear box, right, if I wanted to. And instead of having the power supply like plug into the outlet, I could literally plug it into one of the solar panels, and then it could just be powered by the sun all day. And then at night, when the sun went away, since I didn't have a battery pack or anything hooked to it, it would just go off temporarily. Like the camera would just go down. And then when the sun came up again and the camera had power, it would just turn back on. So I thought of that as an idea as well. So I'm going to explore that. So even though it's super cheap on the power, it's always fun to find alternatives. And the reality is this is the crazy thing that a lot of you guys won't believe. We talk about solar power and how efficient it is, and it's great. And it really is, because it's like free energy, except it's still not cost effective for most of the things that they set it up for. Like, let me give you an example. Electric fence charger to electrify your fence is like 3 or 4 times the amount to get a solar charged solar one. And really the only advantage of having the solar one is that you could just have it out in your field and you don't have to run a power line out to it, right? That's really the only advantage, because the amount of electricity, it's not going to draw that. You're not going to spend that much. It's going to take like 15 years for you to draw that much electricity to make up the difference. And this is the crazy part. They have those same those same chargers. So instead of buying a solar, so this is where you would see if it would be this is where the price break would come in, is if the solar panel charger, is that more cost effective than a DC one? And a DC one means instead of plugging into like an AC, like a plug-in in your wall, DC is a direct current. So you'd get something like a marine battery, right? Like a battery for your boat, right? Or like a car battery, but you get a marine battery because they're all sealed up and stuff and they can be like outdoors. So you get a marine battery and that clicks to the fence charger, and that's what's providing the energy. But then you got to replace the battery every so often, right? So then that would be like, how long does the battery last, to see what the cost of the charger plus the battery would be in relationship to just the solar charger. So we're trying to find these different solutions for this. And the reason is this, because we're trying to make what we did before in Colorado, which was like, we had this little urban homesteading thing going on, because we're in the middle of the street or in the city, right? On the city streets. So now we're trying to really do some more homesteading. We're trying to really take the ranch, this property that we have, and produce enough animals and food and things that we can be, if not self-sufficient, relatively self-sufficient. And the reason is just because we enjoy it, because we like to create our own food, because we like to be a part of the process and know what it is that we're doing. And because we have the ability to do this, we can also then have the ability to, because we raise our own animals and our own meat, and we have that, we can then go and co-op and trade with and work with people that do gardening and grow vegetables and stuff, and have that ability to have both the fresh meat, the fresh veggies, all of that. And really the main reason to do it, people want to know what's our main reason to do it. The main reason that we did this is to get healthier. That was the beginning of this whole thing. So my wife and I both smoked, like, she didn't smoke as much as I did, but I smoked pretty heavy. We didn't exercise. We were pretty sedentary, and we ate and drank things like Monster drinks and Red Bulls, and ate like, donuts and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have donuts or a Monster drink once in a while, but that was like our regular breakfasts, was like Monster and donuts and a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, that was real. And people, I was always thin, but I would go to walk up a set of stairs and I was out of breath, like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. And we recognized that we were eating poorly and that our lives were not healthy. And we started to, and then that's what's changed it, right? We started eating healthier. I started working with a chiropractor, not working with them like for myself, but working for them, doing some computer stuff for them. And that ended up turning into a 4-year deal, a 4-year job that I really worked in that chiropractic office and started getting healthier. And my wife and I started changing our lives. And that's what started this. We did it all to become healthier. That's it. And check this out. The bottom line is this. We didn't want to rely on anyone else to make the food. What we found out was the original thing that got us into home-based business was when I worked for that chiropractor. I worked for a company, an organic company that created their own food, like real food. Like, they had their own grass-fed beef and their own dairy products and their own liquid whey. One of the only companies in the United States that produced liquid whey. So that was how we started this. That was the whole journey. And what happened is along the way, I got on the side journey of building my home-based business, and we got sidetracked And what happened by coming back and swinging back around full circle to the ranch now is now we have this ability to say, hey, you know what? We can go back to that original plan. We can get we can get refocused on what we want to do with the animals, with staying healthy, and we can go big with this. We can do this. Now we have the ability to focus on it because we built a home-based business. And what we learned in building this other stream of income in our home-based business is that we learned, hey, we could monetize this. We could make this a money-making thing. And it already was when we were in Colorado with Jessica's sale of, a few of the bunnies here and there. That all turned into, a little bit of a profit. Not huge, but it was turning a little bit of profit. So if we could do it there, we could do it even bigger here. And the goal is to bring all of that to you guys, to show you guys. So I appreciate your patience with me in some of these technical challenges and building this and doing this. And for those of you that have been working with me, for those of you that have allowed me to teach you and lead some of you along the way, I want to thank you for your time and for your energy. And I want to ensure you that we're moving forward, that these little stall outs and these hiccups that you see, that's all they are. They're just little hiccups. They're just little obstacles. We're moving forward with everything that we're doing. And for each of you that has been here along the way, that has been here to support us, I want you to know that I recognize that I see that, and that I appreciate that. And I want you to know that we appreciate that. And I'm going to be showing all of you guys by giving back, by pouring in. And now that this stuff is set up, I was waiting for this stuff to get set up, and I'm getting some things organized so that we can have another time where I'm able to, again, just, do a massive outpouring of information, of training, of resources, so that you can use what we do here to build your business, to gain more sales, to get more exposure, and to go bigger in your business. So thank you for allowing me to share with you, and we'll see you the next time.